Good morning. Thank you. Thank you for choosing to be here this morning. You know, there's a lot of love in this room. There's a lot of love, and yesterday we had a service for Care and Coffee, and the flowers are infused with the love that was demonstrated. So the way it works, if I'm so discaboobled this morning, if you don't get the message, just know this: it's all about love. Okay? It's just about love. So I will use the avenue, the vehicle of my own being to try to channel some information to you. But I was realizing when I was preparing the talk last evening, all I was doing was rewriting chapter 2. You know, it's like, of the Science of Mind text. I was going, oh, that's good. Well, that makes sense. I'll share that idea. And I thought, go read chapter 2 on the way it works. That's what we're talking about. However, I wanted to start my time with you today by sharing Dr. Ken Gordon, our leader of the Center for Spiritual Living. He has a wisdom that he spoke of to let you understand a little more wholeheartedly the value-based living idea, the whole concept that we are launching this year. So all the centers are speaking to this truth, one form or another. So this is his January 1st intro to his talk. So he refers to that a little bit. But what I find so precious, so deep listening to this is required, because right at the tail end, because we all have our values, and Reverend David spoke of that as well on January 1st. But there is a quality that is the invitation is to go to that deep value of unity and oneness, to that soul value that we all hold in our heart. So we have our personal values, but listen to this to understand where we're going this year. Damien?
I'm so excited. This is the 2017 theme that we're rolling out this year on the value-based living. And the first Sunday is by myself, January 1st, which I doubt seriously very many of us will actually use, because we have got our own little celebrations that we keep in mind for this time of year. But my theme is, how do you live a value-based life? I'll share with you honestly is that this teaching, in my opinion, is a core value of authentic being. That it's all about being authentic and true. And to do that, it's important that we learn what our values are and that we live to our values so that we can express them in the world around us. When we do that, what we find is that we attract into our lives and into our experiences everything that's required in order for us to be able to be real in the world around us. Authentic living doesn't mean authentic to what we think we are or who we think we are. It means being authentic to our own core truth, who we really are, which is the individualization of God. A true estimate of real values cannot be built on the shifting sands of time alone. In the long run, the merciful will obtain mercy. In the long run, we shall reap as we have sown. Which for me really indicates that when we live our lives from our authentic being, what happens is we reap back into our experience that which is required for us to be the best and the greatest that we can be. The desire you have to be something, to do something, is a mental echo in your mind of the spirit which already exists within you. It is an impact of your divine and spiritual self upon your mental or psychological self. It is the spirit in you seeking an avenue of expression through you. It is the real self you would like to be, the deep spiritual self, having all knowledge, having access to all power, being one with life. This is the self that can heal the sick and raise the dead. It is a transcendent, triumphant self. When we talk about how to live a values-based life, what we're talking about is how to be authentic.
No pressure. So let's go there. Let's explore that idea in your own soul. So the words that I share today are the wisdoms of Ernest Holmes, and some of my own understanding of that. We spoke, the first chapter is all about, well, what is God? Essentially, what is God? And only you can name that. Really, truly, only you can name what God is for you. Words that come from the outside in sometimes stop you from hearing. So you have to really be the gatekeeper of your mind and listen to what that is that stirs your soul into awakening. And I wanted to share a story from Leonard Jacobson, and he speaks of this. So what do you want? So think about that in this new year, this new beginning. What do you want? An old man walked along the banks of a river. He was lost in thought and was repeating over and over to himself the same question, what do I want? What do I want? As you wandered in here today, what do you want? For he had forgotten what he wanted. He was so lost in thought that he was unaware of the beauty of the stream flowing past him, nor could he see the butterflies dancing around his shoulders. Suddenly he came to a bend in the river, and he saw two men quietly sitting there. One was dressed as a sage, and the other was dressed as a magician. The sage rose and opened his arms to greet the old man. "You seemed troubled, old man," said the sage. The old man said, "I've been wandering for so many years, and I am weary. I keep searching for what I want, but I cannot find an answer. Perhaps, my friend, the magician, can assist you," said the sage. The old man looked towards the magician, who sat very still, legs crossed, eyes closed. "How can he help me?" asked the old man. "Well, if you are to find the answer," replied the sage, "then you must have the right question." So the magician is listening to the river for the right question. "Well, will he be very long?" said the old man impatiently. Then the sage was concerned. "Don't be impatient," said the sage. "Keep yourself occupied while you're waiting. Pay attention to everything that is around you. Listen to the sound of the stream and to the birds singing. Feel the flow of the river. Look at the flowers and the rocks and the trees reaching upwards towards the sky. Be still and listen to your own heartbeat. Just wait." And so the old man waited and waited and waited. He paid attention to everything around him and everything inside him. Suddenly the magician stirred. "Ah, I have your question," he said. But the old man did not move. "I have your question," repeated the magician, and the old man turned to hear. "The question is," said the magician, pausing dramatically, "what do I want?" "But that is the question I've been asking all along," said the old man. "Ask it again now," said the sage. "But I already know the answer," replied the old man. "I want nothing." "You want nothing?" repeated the sage, with an amused look upon his face. "Yes," said the old man. "For while I was waiting, I saw that already I have everything. I just haven't been paying attention." And so the old man sat by the river with the sage and the magician, and they waited, just in case someone else wandered along who forgot what he wanted. So, have you been wandering for a long time and having that question, what do you want? And looking to the spiritual realm to seek that answer? And have you been still long enough to know that the answer's all around you, holding you? It's what love does. If you recognize that you're waiting for a moment for life to slow down and to pause and not to have another thing happen just so you can collect yourself, it just starts going faster. I walked in this room today thinking, I'm going to get here and sit down quietly and try to collect my thoughts. And I was immediately this morning met with the idea that somebody's stuck in a ditch, there's no ushers or greeters. And so I'm thinking, oh, okay, well, I'll put that over there and I'll take care of it when I get there. And then I thought, well, I'm just going to hand Damien and Jim my phone and we'll play that little clip because I thought that was important. Of course, that didn't work right away. So there was those little things happening, right? Buzzing around, and then I was looking around in the room, and then two people I love very much came in, both with tears in their eyes, and they had broken hearts. And so suddenly, all that I was busy in my mind doing washed away, and I paid attention to what was before me. And that was someone's heart. So, how does it work? How does the Spirit work? Be present and look what's right in front of you. Look at what's right in front of you, and you will find your way, you will find your answer every single time. Now, I have developed over these past few months this very annoying facial habit, and I watch myself do it. It's a breathing practice that I don't know where it came from, but it's a coping mechanism. And I keep asking myself, why am I doing that? Because I know that looks awful to anybody else that's looking at me. But sometimes when I'm on overwhelm, I'll puff up my cheeks and I'll just go, pff, pff. And so I'm going, why am I doing that? Pff, pff. Okay, so I can't seem to stop it at times, but I just get overwhelmed, and all of a sudden I'm going, pff, pff. Now I know that's going to be on video, and I'm going to be annoyed that I did it in front of all of you. Just thought of that. However, the irony is, I was interviewing a patient this week. Okay, so Spirit is always mirroring back to you for something for you to pay attention to. If I don't get it from my own questions, I was interviewing a lady, and every time she paused to answer a question, she'd go, and I thought to myself, why are you doing that? It looks ridiculous. And but every single time she went to answer questions, she did that. So I realize forever Spirit is painting a message for us in front of us all the time. And for me, that idea was to just slow down. To just slow down and to listen to the wisdom that is right before me, and not to project so much into the future. There is a Martin Luther King quote that I wanted to share because we're celebrating the memory of this incredible spiritual man. But this is what he says on this very idea of whatever is before you, it's an opportunity to invite you to do what's right. And so his wisdom on this is the time is always right to do what is right. The time is always right to do what is right. And he says, I have a dream that one day every valley shall be exalted, every hill and mountain shall be made low, and the rough places will be made straight, and the glory of the Lord will be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together. And I paused on that vision, in the practices of the science of mind. Visioning is one of the profound spiritual practices that if we allow ourselves to just sit and not try to imprint everything with what was before, but to allow ourselves just to be washed clean and to sit very still and to pay attention to our surroundings and dream a new dream, and to allow that dream to unfold without worry. So the philosophy begins to blend in here, because we know that if the way it works is through love and through our thought, that whatever we are thinking, therefore it is. When we put it down in such simple words, we just think, well, okay, I'm just going to stay right there and not think anything from the past. And yet we have to still complete all of the things that we've already created from the past. And sometimes this is why the teaching, and we invite you to classes, is because we try to dive deep. We have the conscious mind, the awake mind, and then we have the subconscious mind that is just carrying all of our life experience. And sometimes we think, I'm not going to deal with that, I'm going to suppress it and not let it bother me anymore. And we need to just let that rise up, look at it, breathe at it, whatever we want to do, and just look at it and let it go in that way. Not let it dictate the next outpicturing of experiences, but be wise enough, brave enough, fearless to know that I surrender that too into love. There's a practice that is so beautiful that when we realize what our frequency of our mind is tuned into, to the continual debate inside of our head of some of the old patterns that just kind of wreak their word through our experience. I'm not good enough. I'm gonna flop again here. Whatever it is, we all have some of those, I think. And whatever yours is, we kind of watch it, but have a heart of compassion, turn towards it, and be compassionate enough to find a new expression to say, oh, I hear you, mind. I'm going to take that and know that I am worthy. When we feel the sense of unworthiness start to bubble up in us. So every time we start to feel those old ways, bless them. They're coming into your conscious mind. And say, oh, I'll be so compassionate with you. Thank you. You have passed my mind so that I can free you once and for all. And know that as I think a new thought here, a new experience is about to be created in my world around me. So think about those ways. Our thought and our emotion, this is Ernest Holmes, is the use that we make, consciously or unconsciously, of this creative thing, of the creative spirit that is the cause of everything. Therefore, we shall say that the mind, spirit, and intelligence with which we find in ourselves is as much of this original creative God as we can ever understand. So the first 2 steps of treatment, of prayer that we follow in this teaching, God is, and then we can name it to whatever unfolds in our heart. I am. God is and I am. And when we can allow God to fill the vessel of our being, to move aside the particles of our personality that have become a scapegoat for us not doing better, for being the walls, the boundaries that close us in, for we can only, the Spirit is so ready and willing to bestow upon us every gift of prosperity, of love, of friendship, of grace, of healing, of forgiveness. You name whatever is out there that your heart is longing for. How much can you receive? Can you just let your whole being just be the vessel and let that wash through you and just allow it to just be? The words crop up and you say, thank you, there was a boundary. I found one of my boundaries. I break through, I bust through, and I am free. And Spirit floods in, and he fills that with great joy, with great love, with the quality of God, because God is and I am. And when we can claim that truth, we begin to move deeper towards our authentic self. I can feel that for each and every one of you when you take this teaching to the very depth of what it is. It's not just a feel-good philosophy. It's one that asks you to be enriching your soul with every breath, with every thought, to look at the vortex of your being, to look at that spirit of who you are and to feel Spirit just evolving and moving through you, longing for you to wake up, to have that enlightenment, to feel that. And then anything outside of that is almost like the vortex of a hurricane, and then there's an old cow out there that is being placed somewhere. We just think, land that cow lightly somewhere else because I don't need it in my world anymore. You know, you can feel that, whatever it is. I don't know what that means, but that's what my mind is showing, this cow out there. So it is our ignorance of this knowing. It's when his word ignorance is such a, insulting word when you read it in his writings, but it is true. It's our not knowing of this truth that we have misused this highest power that is bestowed within us, through us, for us, as us. And so great, he says, is this power, so complete is our freedom in it, so absolute the domain of the law through it. The law, it is done unto you as you believe. That the misuse of this power has brought us the very conditions that we suffer. So look at your life. Look at what's going on inside of you. Look at all of it. And why spiritual practice is so important is because we must sit in the stillness. Just as the wanderer, the old man, walked, he had to sit long enough to purify his visual field and then ask the questions and then find the true answers. That still small voice of the divine will speak to you. And pretty soon, the dialogue will be so pristine and so clear, you're just guided to the authentic self, to the real core self. And we become the change in this time where there seems to be so much chaos when we look out. But we're not a part of that chaos. Oh, there's the cow analogy. So there's the chaos, and we're the cow being placed somewhere else. There you go. Follow my mind? No. But how much can we demonstrate? This is the question that I invite all of you. How much do you want Spirit to fill you? Just what you can believe. And I love the work of Deepak Chopra. My Practitioner 2 class, we just finished reading the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success. Beautiful small book, wonderful one to have in your library. And he speaks of one of intention in that chapter. And intention, what do you want to put your attention to? And what do you want to place your intention upon? So when we allow attention to kind of, if it's something that is causing us to destruct ourselves, don't put any attention on that. Begin to let that wither away. Bless it and let it wither away. And choose to put your attention on a greater quality of the divine within you. And then set your intention for an idea, a visualization of yourself being just that and nothing less and more. And you begin to realize that you're breaking down the old you, the one that wandered in the ignorant self, and starts to become that very potent, authentic self where you live that value-based living. So how much can you demonstrate? Just what you can believe. How much can you see? How much can you accept? How much can we find in our consciousness that is no longer repudiated by our own denials? Whatever that is, however much that is, that much we can have. Yes, that much you can have. The invitation for you, sweet ones with your beautiful, tender hearts that move in and out of sad moments into joyful moments. You're carried by love. How much love are you willing to hold, to receive, to feel? So change the focus, shift the focus to from what you don't want to what you do want. Because the voices will be there. It's how we're structured. It's how the mind works. But speak to those voices. Let your life demonstrate and align with this principle of love and that it is done unto you. Every scripture has that truth. It is done unto you as you believe. Listen to your feelings. They're not just flippant thoughts. It's the feelings that are behind those beliefs. You want to change your thinking and change your life. That's how it works. That's the way it works. So in closing, I wanted to share, I have a lot more to share with you here, but I'm going to talk about it at the next service. But one of my teachers is Paramahansa Yogananda, And his New Year's message came with this quote from the leader of the organization right now. Let nothing weaken your conviction that you can be whatever you want to be. There is no one obstructing you unless it be yourself. He taught us to erase from our consciousness the thought of I can't and rouse that divine conqueror within, that essence, that soulness, that I amness is that you all are. Rouse that, waken that into a daily effort and prove I can. So you move from those places, I can't, to I can. I am love. I am filled with love. And I can walk in to sanctuaries that are infused with love. And I can take on more and be more. So, the time is now. The moment is, as the Buddha reminds us, reach down and touch the earth. And open your eyes and look around and see what messages the world is telling you. Is somebody puffing up their cheeks and blowing back in your face to tell you to slow down and to let it go? That just to trust God, that Spirit flows through you as you. You've got all the time in the world. You've got all the messages in yourself through the divine conduit that God wants expressed through you. You've got it all, every single one of you. When I glance around, we are the ones. It almost makes my heart weep with joy that in these times of chaos and uncertainty, we're the ones. We're the ones. Wherever you have dialogue out in the world, you're the one. You're the one sharing love. So, this meditation as I close, I want you just to close your eyes and feel who you are right now. What are you feeling? And as you sit and say, oh, a meditation, I am called into spiritual practice. This is Ernest Holmes. And in the Bible, John says, on that day, you will know that you are in me and I am in you. So this is your invitation. In this meditation, as we sit and breathe and feel and know who we are, we call upon Spirit. We wish to be better, to better understand and inwardly feel the meaning of a divine body that is perfect. We seek now to identify our physical body with this complete and perfect spirit of life within us. Keep breathing, keep knowing. I am conscious that I am in the midst of a perfect life. I am aware that the divine spirit is around me and within me. I know that there is a perfect presence in the center of everything. The presence is real. Love is real. Feel it. Keep breathing. I am the one with the infinite spirit of wholeness. This indwelling presence now manifests itself in and through every cell of my being. The mind, the body of mind is a temple. The temple of the living God. Keep breathing, relaxing and knowing. I know that every action, every cell, every atom of my being is at this instant being brought into perfect harmony and perfect health. That every shadow of doubt or worry or fear, every shadow of doubt or worry or fear is instantly dispelled by the radiance, by the power of His glory which dwells within me. Keep breathing. I am quickened with the life of God. I am blessed by the love of God. I am so secure in the divine indwelling of Spirit in me as me. Let me relax my shoulders. Let me open my heart. Let me keep breathing and let me know this truth is now It's right where I am. I give thanks for the spiritual awakening at the center of my being, and I listen to that still small voice of God. Can you hear it? It is proclaiming to you its own glory as your life, as my life. And it says to each and every one of us, "Thou art my beloved one, in whom I am well pleased." So be it, and so it is. Thank you.